Hi, Melanie Minshinger here, illustrator for Gina K Designs. Today I have a video for you with my Stately Flowers 8 set showing how easy it is to create a stamped doily using the butterfly images in my set. To do this project, you're going to need an 8.5 by 4.25 piece of craft cardstock, scored at 4.25 so that it makes a 4.25 square card. You're going to need the Stately Flower 8 stamp set. I'm using these two butterflies. You're going to need a block for both of those butterflies. Going to need some white ink. This is the Gina K white pigment ink. You're going to need some kind of circle template. Now you could use a cup, you could use a cutout or a protractor to create a circle. This is a Spellbinder standard circle and it's 2.5 inches, or excuse me, 2.25 inches. The reason I chose this size, when you place it onto a 4.25 square card, you're going to have 1 inch clearance all the way around for stamping your images. So if you're using an image that's slightly bigger than that, you're going to want to make it a little bit smaller. If it's smaller, you might choose one that's a little bit bigger. But I'm just going to use this die. You could also use the die to make the cutout. So I'm going to show you a trick for how to make this pattern symmetrical all the way around. I've done this before, tried it with just stamping in a line, and unless you've done some very careful measuring ahead of time, which I hate to do, you're not going to have it line up evenly. You're going to end up having just a partial image, and that's not going to look good. But if you follow this, you should get a good pattern every time on your card. Alright, so I'm going to place that in the center, starting out with my smaller butterfly. I'm going to ink it up. You can look at it to make sure you have good coverage. So I'll have that right there in the middle, and I'm going to stamp this first on the bottom, and then I'm going to re-ink it, and I'm going to go to the top. So that's the rule, that you always have to keep them in pairs on opposite sides. So now I'm going to ink it again, and I'm going to go to this side, and then ink it again, and put it on the left side. Okay, so we are halfway done. Now we're going to switch to the larger butterfly, and this is going to go into those corners. So get that nice and inked up. Okay, this one is going to overlap just a little bit, but I'm getting the antenna centered into the middle. Stamp. See how nicely that fills in that corner. Then I'm going to go to the other side. Stamp. Oh, and I missed a little bit of the wing there, so I'm going to go just back in. Okay, and it's okay if you miss a little bit of it. It's popping up a little bit because I already folded the score. But what I really like about this butterfly, it was almost all entirely black. That's why this one is so bold, and you have just those very, very tiny cutouts. Popped up again. One more time. Okay. All right. And so now you have this delicate, lacy image that fills out that square so nicely. And remember that pigment ink is basically paint in a pad. So you're going to need to wait a while to let it dry, or you can just take your heat gun and that'll dry the paint out. But I would still take a few minutes to do that. Okay, so just real carefully, I'm going to go ahead and take some of the Gina K Black Onyx ink to stamp that greeting. And you keep seeing me use it, but I just love it so much. Just with the mixed font, my big scale. Stamp that right in the center. And you have a really elegant, clean and simple card. Now another thing that you could do here is you could choose to put an image in the center, or maybe do some layering with your other dies. Here is another greeting from the set, the Happy Birthday to You, stamped in black on the white. And then I cut that out, excuse me, with another standard circle, and then layered that onto this fancier circle. And your card is done. So you can follow this same formula of creating the pattern by stamping in pairs on opposite sides with any kind of die. You could use a square die, you could use something that has a fancier frame with an oval, but you always just want to remember to go in pairs on opposite sides, filling it out until it's finished. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you enjoy creating stamped doilies and pendants with butterflies.